But I have a question here for everybody here are marketers. Not all of them have the luxury that I think 3 of you have, that you can tap development resources for your marketing needs. How many people here that are in marketing position cannot get an hour of developer even if their life depends on that? All of you can do that. This is awesome. Okay, we are like Care Bear area here. It's awesome. Okay, I can tell that what we see with most of our clients, it's very challenging, especially in larger companies. Companies in the telecom business is a great example, which is really hard to tap on marketing resources, get marketing resources from development, and so on. Okay, so because as people here explained, they have tons of leads. They get them in a very good price, right? It's like the A team of lead gen, okay? No, besides me, okay? This is like, okay? So it's the A team of lead gen. Here comes the big question. Leads, you can get in gazillion ways. Most of them, at least in longer sales cycles, I think you are the exception. We'll discuss your point in a second. But in most cases, leads that leave their details on a website, especially when you're talking about content marketing, especially when you're doing a webinar, when you're doing an event, when you have a white paper that is useful, they are not sales ready, right? How many people here think that lead nurturing is a challenge for them today? Okay. It's a huge challenge. And what I would like to hear from you guys is, first of all, how do you quantify it? How do you know where to put your next dollar, in lead gen or lead nurturing?
Okay, so actually I'll let Ramel answer first because he formulated this question, so he probably have the best answer.
So I don't remember exactly the numbers, but there is research for B2B marketers that show that, excuse me? ECB. You don't know what I'm going to say. That most of it's over 90% of the dollars that marketers put into marketing goes to lead acquisition. And because of depends where you look, but over, let's say 75 to 90% of the leads are not lead ready and you're still getting them, it would be a real waste not to invest money to try and to find from those leads who are the leads that are ready. So I think that investing in marketing automation, it's kind of a long-term effort, and we think that at ClickTale, my previous company, I can tell you that about 75% of the leads were definitely not sales ready. About 20 to 25, which is a high number, were sales ready. It still can take half a year to sell to them, but they're passable or marketing qualified leads that you can pass to sales. So you have to work with those 75% of the leads. And the way I see it is you have to take into account that it can take up to 2 years to find the good ones within those 75% of the leads. And it's probably, by the way, only a third of them. Only a third of those 75%, which is still a lot. It's 25% of your overall leads. They will qualify, they will purchase a product, but not necessarily from you. If you do nurture them and you're going to be patient, they will qualify.
Okay, so in general, I mean, I agree with what Ramel said, but what we're seeing is like for the 80% who are not sales ready, it takes time, and not all. I mean, in some cases, we just launched the product like 6 months ago, so I'm not sure I have like the full statistics yet. But what we're starting to see is we're starting to see some leads who signed up like back in January or February, and we were like all of a sudden they see a webinar and they start joining a webinar, and then after the webinar they send us an email. Okay, this sounds very interesting. I would like to have a call and see a demo. I would like to see the pricing. So the content is doing an effect. I mean, either a webinar or sometimes even updates about the new features in the product. I mean, some companies did not use our product just because they were using a development language that was not supported by our solution. So as we're adding new languages, we're sending these announcements either in the social channels or just in direct emails. So we're starting to see more and more leads coming in. But it's a long process, and I don't have like the full statistics yet. But what we're seeing that works very good in like waking up those sleepy leads is mainly webinars, and sometimes like very technical content about a topic that they find interesting or which is there is a hype around. This is the kind of thing which works in this area.
One more thing that I want to add about marketing automation, from an experience of doing it in 3 different companies, what I've learned is that in the first company, I built a crazy marketing automation machine with a lot of the segmentations and tracks, and it became a monster. And I can tell you that after doing it 2 more times, the most important thing in marketing automation, from my experience, is to simply remind people that you exist. Of course, you have to send them interesting information, and you have to see what's the most engaging. But send them an email every 2 weeks or so, and you have to test what's the right time. That's the most important thing. So when it does become relevant, they'll say, "Oh yeah, I'll ask for a quote or for a demo from those companies who sent me an email last week or last whenever."
Just would like to touch on that from our experience also, and also from the experience of some of our clients. I think the biggest challenge that marketers face today, that if 5 to 10 years ago, you could think in a mode of campaigns, I'm doing campaign, I'm bumping up my numbers, and then I'm waiting for the next campaign. Now the model is continuous engagement. You constantly have to touch your database. That's extremely hard because some of it, the definition of a database is very, very fluid. In the past, it was emails. Now it includes also social. And you need somehow to manage it. You need somehow to track it. You need to create tons of content to constantly do that. And you need to always find a way to be very, very interesting because nobody want to get junk. The worst thing you can do is send an email that is not interesting because the person will just unsubscribe or just flag you as spam that will hurt you in even a bigger way with the ISPs and so on. So you constantly have to be very, very smart and provide a lot of value. One of the companies doing a good job about it, by the way, is Octopus that are here. Raise your hand, guys. What these guys found is an awesome way to hack the process because creating content is so expensive. They're doing something called customer webinars, which basically they call in their customers to talk about their experience on specific things. And they balance the effort of they're bringing in a lot of value because they're bringing smart people to speak there, and they're also able to provide a lot of value to their database. And that's a good example. There are other companies doing a lot of very, very good things with that. But if at least my advice, if you need to think about a model in your mind on how to build this kind of operation, continuous engagement. You cannot create demand. There is this term demand generation. 95% of the cases of, not in your case it's a bit different, I think.
I think
we're on the same line.
Yeah.
So in 95% of the cases, companies cannot create demand. They can just be there and wait for customers when they decide that they really want a solution to the problem that the company solves to think about this specific company as a solution. We see it when we're selling our services. We see it when we are helping our clients sell their services. And we also see it with the companies that we are buying their products, right? We are using a lot of technologies as well.
I would just add that email is still like whoever like Facebook. If you talk to the guys marketing at Facebook, they say the best way for them to create retention is email. So email is like the social is nice. We're getting all our leads from social, but like emails are killer. And what we do is refunnel them. Like we give them like every time the trial ends, like 9 days later, you can reset your trial. So if you want to use the Pulse for free, every 30 days have a 9-day pause, that's fine. That's our free account. But we re-enter them into the funnel, and sometimes they're ready for a new project, and they want to use us or something like that. And they really need to be kept aware that we're there and it's the same thing. And I think it's more acute. Like I would say that like after a week from sign up, even though it hasn't expired, they forget who we are sometimes. So we're really, because you sign up, like how many apps do you sign up in a web a day? Like a couple of them a day in my case. So we're actually starting to remind them like in the first week. We're now working and I think I heard Mad Mimi does it really well, and I love that like an email tip. I really love we're doing it, and it's nice that they send on the first 8 days. Like Mad Mimi is a competitor to MailChimp, and it lets you create a newsletter, and they assume that if you sign up or want Mad Mimi, you want to create an awesome newsletter. So they start by saying, we're going to give you an 8-day training on how to build the best newsletter. And they send you 8 emails. One day like each day after sign up, and because it's like 1 of 8. You say like you won't marketed spam or delete because you say, oh, this is not interesting, but tomorrow one may be interesting. So that's like really cool. I think it's a nice idea. And another thing that we've tested, we're doing a lot of email testing, A/B testing and stuff. So what Joel here tested with part of the Pulse team, that to send the same email as plain or as a company format.
Yeah.
Right. So what we found is if we send the same email in a plain format or with the company format, what happens is that the plain email gets more responses but more unsubscribes, because you read like, oh, this guy is bothering me, I'm going to mark it as spam or unsubscribe, because it's a personal approach. But if it's a company email, people see, oh, a company format, I won't take the time to respond so much, but they unsubscribe much less because they say, okay, I like the company, just like this email is not interesting to me, so maybe tomorrow it'll be better. That's like what we understand out of it. But it's like the opposite of engagement and unsubscription. So we started changing all our emails to fit one or the other, what it's supposed to do. I know it's like a question for
what we've done about email marketing, because that's a good point. We've decided to go plain text, all the emails. We've built a database bottom up, and when you do it this way, I think that plain text works better. If you had already engagement with a person, if you met them in a conference or they signed to a webinar or something like that, and they already have a person that he's the face of the company for them, then they don't want to be, at least this is my assumption from the data.
We're not sending enough emails. Like, we're sending so many emails.
No, I'm saying that's, this is for more of a boutique. I have our database is not that large, but it's very, 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 very targeted. Our approach, because we're a small company, I do not have anything to do with 1,000 leads. If I have 1,000 leads per month, we will, Roy is here. Where is Roy? Roy is here. Roy is going through all the incoming leads, and he's starting to, figure out what should we do with them. He will die. Okay, we don't want him to die. He's a nice guy. So we do not do that. But then we do all those very personal approaches with very specific points there that lead people to high quality content. And we found that for us, it gives us data of around 50 to 60% again of opening rate. If you're doing something which is wider, then it's a bit different.
And here, I have to say that it always takes me like 2 seconds to figure out that this is an automated email. The email I get from you. It takes me like a second to... wait a minute. It's automated. It's not for me.
By the way, my CEO was commenting on your email that he said, it looks really, really personal. So I think that Kfir is doing a great job with that.
I haven't talked to you in a while. Okay.
I just want to share one more tip, because I'm assuming everyone here is doing marketing automation, and most of the companies who send emails in marketing automations, it looks like a standalone email that you send once, let's say every other week, which is fine. A way to overcome kind of the noise within marketing automation is to create a sense of having the email being personal. So one way is the copy, which is very important. Another way is to create mini campaigns in the marketing automation that looks like it's a follow-up email. So let's say you're inviting someone to a webinar. So the first email you write, personal, hey, I'd like to invite you. Hey, John, I'd like to invite you to the webinar. And then if he doesn't register to the webinar, you send him an email which includes the previous email, like you replied or forwarded that email. And you say, hey, John, I noticed you haven't registered yet. And we've seen that this works so well. People don't see that it's coming from marketing automation. Sometimes they actually apologize for not responding to the first email. Another trick that you can do, let's say you want to run a special promotion. Okay, so a trick that you can do is you can be, let's say you're sending the email on behalf of the sales guy. So you can you can make the email look like it's being forwarded. You make it look like there was an email sent to your sales guy from the VP of sales saying, hey, Kevin, we have a special promotion that you can give to one customer. Okay, and then it looks like Kevin that he's the sales guy, that he's forwarding it to the customer and saying, "Hey, John, I have this one slot for my best customer, and I want to give it to you." Now it's all automated, and people simply fall for it. Okay, it's a little bit dirty, and it works. Okay,
It's not dirty. It's marketing.